In this update I get a bunch of the little loose ends tied up that I've had hanging on for a while, work on the valve covers. If I wasn't so picky I could have had this done a while back, but I like things nice and neat. If I'm going to have it, spend the time to make it, I'm going to make it look nice. So make everything look nice and neat, tidy a few things up, do make some headway. Like I said, tied up a bunch of little loose ends. Those are the kind of things that are just time consuming. They're not hard, just time consuming. Alright, got the other valve cover finished up. Got my bungs welded on, even did a little better here, so I'm improving. Got some -10 AN fitting welded on. Welded it on the fill cap here. That comes off. Didn't really have much room here to put it and still be able to get a wrench on it, so put it there. And then I got this one here on, welded it from the underside. So it come out good too. Alright, I've been working on getting my valve covers polished up and ground down. There's the spuds I put on. For this side they're shorter than the factory ones. And then they're up a little bit higher to clear my brake booster. Polish came out pretty good. Still a little bit of a few scratch marks in there, but not too bad. You won't see it anyways. It's underneath the coil pack. Also bought some plug wires. The factory plug wires were just way too long. And these here have the 45-degree plug on them. The factory ones I was having to cut them down and redo the plug wire to make them clear my headers. These look like they'll clear alright. We'll see once I get them in, but if you're interested, they're Henson Motorsports. They're shorter than the normal LS wires. And I think they were like $60 from Jegs or some at one of those two places. So there you can see how the coils are fitting on there. Got good clearance there. I got clearance anyways. That's all that matters on my booster. And you can see how the plug wires are going on. They're working pretty good so far. They could have been a hair shorter for my application, but they'll work. You can see I have very little clearance for my steering shaft, but yet there is clearance, even though you probably can't tell. Alright, on these Holley valve covers, since the coils are in a little bit different location than stock, and my harness on the truck comes in back here, and I don't want to run any wires on the intake, I'm going to take a stock coil harness and modify it so it will have the connector reach back here better than what it currently does. So I'll show you how I do that. Yay! Only 11 minutes to unwrap it. I need this connector here to exit out somewhere over here. So I'm going to have to do some cutting. You can see all the wires join into one connector. So I'm going to cut those apart, cut the wires apart, and then splice into it and see if I can't move that connector over. Alright, I ended up cutting all the harness out of it. It was a nightmare. And there's my connector end. All the same color wires go to the same color wires. Pretty simple. I want this to exit out about right here. So I'm just going to kind of lay it out and see what happens. Alright, coming right along with this wire harness. Got all the wires from here over all connected. Got my pigtail leads made on, and then I'll splice the leads into here. Everything's been heat shrinked, and it's a good heat shrink. It's got the glue inside of it, so it oozes out and seals up the wire real good, making it waterproof. Alright, there you can see I got the driver's side coil harness installed. Came out fairly decent. There's a connector back there, so that way I could run my harness down beside the engine instead of having to run it all across the top. Alright, with the valve covers being basically done other than polishing, my next step's going to be putting a catch can in here. I'm going to try and mount it there. I think there used to be a power block right there. I'm not sure, I can't remember. And then I used a old drive shaft tube again. It's cut up. I'm going to make it into the catch can. I'm going to see if I can't mount it in there. We'll see how it goes. I'll get the figure out the mounting and the can, then polish everything out and see if I can weld it together. I got a filter for it and the bungs for it, so we should be good. Alright, I got this bracket cut out here. I'm going to use to slide down in that slot there like the factory used, so I'm going to try and make this thing look factory. Did a bunch of measuring on it, and so I'll have my catch can go down in there and I'll have a way to hold it on. Might drill some holes and tap it down back in there. Not sure yet, but either way, that's how I'm going to hold the tank on. Alright, here's my catch can in progress. I got one bung tacked on there. You can see how I'm doing inside there. I'm running these tubes down towards the bottom. Been doing some research online. Don't know if it's right or not, but seems kind of legit to run the tubes down to the bottom so that way the oil will separate down there instead of more in the air. This is what one of my fittings looks like before I weld it in. Just fits in there like so, and then I'll weld it on, and then I'll have another deal coming out here that has like a mesh in it to filter out the oil, and then the filter will be on top, so it shouldn't take me too long to get this done. Here's my catch can. I got it probably about 70% done right now. Still need to grind those welds down, and then inside you can see I ran tubes down. This will be for each valve cover. Other thing I'm working on right now is putting a new throttle cable in. That's the new one here, and here's the old one. You probably can't tell from the pictures, but the ends are different sizes. The Gen V LS7 individual throttle body takes a 7mm hole, and the GM one takes a bigger one, and this is just like kind of like lead or something. I'm not sure what that is. So I found a 1/4 inch solid bar stock, and I put it in the belt sander and on a drill and spun it till it equaled the diameter I needed. Then I drilled a hole in it, put the cable through it, and then welded the end, and then ground it flush again so now it fits on the intake. Alright, here's how my catch can will slide in. Fits in there perfectly. Now I'll put a couple of push pins in there to keep it down instead of bolts, so that way I can easily remove it, but it is clipped in pretty good. Alright, so here's my breather can right before I finish it up. It's got a drain hole in it, and I got it tapped out. I just put a little extra aluminum down there, filler rod, drilled and tapped it. And then this is what I made. I'm hoping this helps keep the oil from coming out the filter so much. It's got a drain hole there, and then this will all be down inside the can, and then this piece of stainless steel dishwash scrubber I'm going to shove down in there as kind of a filter, and this will sit in here like that, and then the filter will go on top. Alright, there's the top welded on, got the filter on. All I got left to do is sand it down and polish it. Alright, here's the catch can. Let's see down there how I held it on. I used push pins, drilled through the mount, and then drilled through the core support there. This is a can I made out of drive shaft tube and a spare tire cover off of the back of like a Buick Riata or something. They're aluminum, so I picked it up, and that's how I made that. Welded on my bungs there and got it all polished out too. It'll probably get polished more later, but I'm going to get this thing running. I pull it out later date and finish polishing it. But there it is. Alright, I got the valve covers all on, with the coil packs on, spark plug wires on. You can see everything's a pretty tight fit, but it fits. Got a bunch of little things done on this update. So there's the other valve cover. Just a FYI, if you do get Holley valve covers, spray some WD-40 into the receiver groove on the valve cover gasket. It'll make your life a whole lot easier, and you'll thank me for it and you won't even know it. Did get my catch can plumb tonight. Nothing too difficult about that. Just use some AN fittings and some braided stainless line. Let's see how I ran them both in there and down into the catch can. Came out pretty nice. I really don't like that long hose, but I really don't have too much of an option where to put the catch can. What I have left to do is run my hard fuel line, run my vacuum hose, my 2 wires down to my vacuum pump, and bolt the intake on. And I am going to pull this valley cover back off and machine that boss off, since I don't need the PCV. I'll machine that off so it just gives it a cleaner look. And I'm going to make a couple mounts for the throttle cable on top the valley cover too, just to kind of keep the throttle cables held where they need to be. I'll run the cruise control cable, but it won't be hooked up right now. Hook it up later. I haven't got it figured out yet. So anyway, sorry it's still not done. I had to work today, unfortunately, on Saturday, so I only got to work on this thing for about 5 hours tonight, and I'm dead tired. So, and I don't think I'm going to be able to get to work on it tomorrow. I got another project I'm trying to work on. So, next time, I hope to have this thing all buttoned up, intake on, ready to tune. Probably not tuned, ready to tune. So, I've just been super busy, trying to work in the time I can here and there, working late out here in the garage. As always, thanks for watching, and please like and subscribe.